Oops.
We are waiting to see if we are now live.
Di just left a message in Discord.
Yes, I believe we are live. Can we confirm?
Ow.
Yes.
Yay! Welcome! This is the first Stitch and Bitch on my channel, the Fancy Hat Lady Reads. So if you found me here, you know where we are this month. This is our November live show. I hope everyone was able to find it all right. So we are still waiting for Di, who is going to be a little late. I have not had a chance to read the message she sent in Discord.
Yeah,
She had
made
a yarn miss
Not going to make it.
yarn winding mishap.
Well, as sad as that is, we have, I'm sure, plenty to talk about, just the three of us. Including, I am just going to start by introducing myself so that then I can introduce the cat and then we can move on to the other introductions, because she's sitting here so patiently waiting to be introduced.
I mean, clearly we must prioritize the real star of the show.
Right. I am Kelsey of the Fancy Hat Lady Reads. I do SFS book content on this channel, and I am wearing today, in addition to a fancy hat, I am wearing cat pajamas in honor of my new pajama cat. So this, you want to turn to the camera? You want to say hello to the camera? This here is Pajama Jamboree, who is new here. This is her YouTube debut. I call her Jammy for short, or Jamarama, or Jammy Jam, or Miss PJ. All are appropriate. Mostly she's Jammy, though.
She's so lovely.
She's
I'm going to perch a little hat on her head temporarily, just wear a hat. It's good. You did your job.
Yeah.
I mean, she takes it in stride. Like, the modeling gig really works for her.
Yes,
She seems very patient.
she
very
is.
chill.
She's a very chill cat. I think I found a good name for her. The people who were in my various, direct messages and group chats as I was fretting about what to name her. She has a name now. She's Pajama Jamboree.
I like it. I think Jamboree really fits her. All of her nicknames are really good.
And
I mean, a beloved child has many names. That is always the most important thing.
yes.
Like,
and so that's me, and that's Jammy. I am going to pass the introduction baton on to Rachel.
Hello, my name is Rachel. My channel is Colonati, where I talk about science fiction and fantasy and nonfiction and romance. And I am back on a little bit of a break because I have been unwell again, but be back eventually. I'm still reading things. So yeah, that's me.
And Rhea?
Yes, I am Reija. My channel is The Bookfinch, and I can happily show you that my hand is out of the brace. If any of you saw my recent video, I accidentally had a workplace accident and had to wear a wrist brace for like 6 days or so. But now I finally can have it off.
And just some time for a Stitch and Bitch where you need to use your
Exactly. So when I am not like irresponsibly endangering myself and injuring myself, I do read SFF and manga. I have been actually reading a lot of manga this past month. So yeah, that's me. There might be some cat appearances.
Yeah.
Yay!
You might see Tesla again.
Yes,
Maybe?
probably.
Yay.
He has been living with me for the past 4 weeks, because I have been co-parenting Mosfet and Tesla. So
Okay, so next is craft introductions. If Rachel, you want to tell us what you are working on or unworking on?
Yeah. Yes, Joe, a little dog on my side. Though Ava's not in here today. She got miffed with me because I wouldn't play with her before sitting down for the live, and so she's off in the living room like, you won't play with the laser pointer, I'm going to ignore you. That's my dog. Anyway, I am deconstructing stuff today. I've had a bunch of finished or half-finished projects piling up that I need to frog or rip out and fix. So that's what I am doing. Like all of today is just devoted to that. So right now, if anybody remembers this extremely floofy sweater that I knit last autumn, this is my dark green Augustin sweater. The sleeves on it are absolutely ridiculous. The cuffs on them are insane. So I am ripping out the sleeves and shortening them and reknitting the cuffs on them. So that's what I'm trying to do today. And frogging mohair is like the worst, guys. Why am I doing this?
I can imagine.
Oh.
I have never had to wait. What? No, I actually scratched that. I've had to like frog mohair all the time, considering that I had to restart the ranunculus feather, which I was making out of mohair lace weight yarn, which was a mistake.
Yeah. So I have this, and should I get this ripped out, I have a skirt that needs a zipper ripped out. And I'm not looking forward to that, but that's going to be done too. And if I do any knitting, I finally started a successful colorwork project, guys. You see that?
Nice! Is that skulls?
It's skulls and a pumpkin on it. It's a pair of fingerless mitts. So
cool.
It's actually working out. I really struggle with color work, but for some reason, knitting little things has worked out for me. So I might work on that today too.
Rhea?
Yes, just a moment.
Take your
time. I am still working on the witch hat. As you can see, the brim is done.
Woo!
And now I'm just doing like it likes to like roll in over itself because I have not blocked it. But I because I've had to do so many decreases, I actually like took it out of the round and put it in like just regular DPNs, because it started to become really like difficult not to stretch it out while I was like knitting it on the round.
Yeah.
So
you could magic move it.
Yeah. Hopefully I will finish this for next year. Then I will have a witch hat for all our Halloween content.
Yay! Witch Hat Club.
Yes.
I am not yet doing a craft and will not do one until Jamie decides she has had enough of being a star. But if she decides to leave before the stream is done, I have another beading craft to start on. I am a holiday beading craft. I got these plastic glow ball Christmas tree ornaments, and I'm going to try to do some beading on them to make them pretty.
Are those like the ones that are like you can put stuff inside them as well?
I don't think these ones open. I did not get the ones that, well, okay. So they will open at the top. So if you wanted to put like glitter inside or something that would go in through the little hole at the top, you could do that. You couldn't put, they don't break open it. Like there are some that, hello cat. Oh,
Yes. I need to show you. Look, he has gotten a little thinner.
He has.
Yes, he has worked his way halfway through to remission. He now only gets 2 doses of insulin, or like he used to get four units, and now he gets 2.
Oh,
And so he's halfway through to beating diabetes. So we're very proud.
I miss
so
his face.
distinguished.
Yeah.
Yes, you can go over there. He has a little spot right next to me because sometimes he can be very demanding with the attention.
Oh my gosh.
Also, my hair is going to behave very unrulily, so I will just put on a band.
Anyways, I'm not planning on putting anything inside the ornaments because what I'm going to be doing on the outside is going to be making them plenty heavy anyways, and I don't want to make them heavier than they have to be. Plus, I do want to be able to see the beading through the plastic. That's the goal. Hopefully, when I start doing it, it will become clear what it is I'm envisioning, but I'm not totally sure I can describe it in words. And when I went to Michael's to buy the ornaments for this craft, I was not planning on buying more beads because heaven knows I have enough beads. But they had a big bead sale going on, and I just want to show you the hello, January. Sorry, these are not cat toys, even though they sound a bit like them. I want to show you the beads. But stay here.
Are you going to do like Christmassy colorways as well? Like,
I tend to go like non-traditional in Christmas decorative colors, so I'm probably not going to do like green and red. But anyways, I don't know if I'll use any of the beads I just bought, but some of them are really pretty. I bought these.
Oh, I like those.
ooh,
Stone. I'm not sure what type of stone this is, but the green and
I don't know why, but they remind me of dragons.
Yes, very pretty. I got these that are, please stay where you are, Miss Jamie. Little metal bumblebees.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I approve of any and all bumblebees.
I want to make myself earrings with these.
Oh, that'll be cute.
Oh yeah.
I got these. These were all like 60% off, so I sort of went to town.
Ooh, I also really like those.
Yes.
Oh, I like those as well.
Yeah.
Like seashell swirly stuff. These ones are boring, but hopefully practical. I just sort of needed these colors.
Yeah.
And then I got these. These are the last ones. Giant, shiny, colorful rocks.
Goodness.
Oh, I think those could make like Christmas decorations as their own thing, like, you know,
They
just put
could,
on a dangly thing.
Absolutely. I'm sort of tempted to like go back and buy more of them. But yeah. So I will maybe start crafting on that, but not while there is still a cat being cat. What is next in the order? Currently reading is next in the order. Rachel, do you want to start off with what you are currently reading?
I can, if I can remember everything that I'm currently reading.
I have a book, so I will
Oh,
fetch it, but I can hear everything you will say. I just
Okay.
I will fetch my book.
So I started, for some reason, I just like really wanted to read romance this past week, even though I wasn't reading much. So I did pick up Proper English by, is it KJ Charles? Yeah. Which I hadn't picked up before because the covers of her England series are horrible. If you've seen them, you know what I mean. But Proper English is a like queer sapphic historical romance, and I'm quite enjoying it. It's all like murder mystery at a country house sort of thing, which I quite like. So I'm reading that. And my big book, I wanted to read this for Nonfiction November. I'm not going to finish it in November, let's be honest. It's a pretty chunky book. This is Magnificent Rebels by Andrea Wolf, and it is all about the beginning of Romanticism in Jena, in what is now Germany, in the 1790s. So it is very interesting. It's basically about a university town where a bunch of odd philosophical people and poets and stuff got together and invented the concept of the self. So it's very interesting.
Rhea?
Oh yes. Well, I have read so many things.
30 and 30.
Yeah, 30 and 30. I have read 20 volumes of manga in 20 days.
You're on track.
So it has fluctuated because on some days I haven't had time to read, and then when I had the brace, I couldn't like keep a book on my hand properly, so I was mostly listening to my nonfiction picks on audio. So to make sure that I stay on track, on some days I have had to read 2 to 3 volumes instead of the 1 volume per day. But now I'm on track. I restarted my Berserk reread project because last time the last volume I read was volume 22, I think. And then it was, because it's Berserk, it was so grim and cruel and gross that I just like I had to go into my escapist cocoon, and now I finally came back out of it and read 2 more volumes, and then I immediately had to like cleanse my palate with 3 volumes of A Man and His Cat, because I was like, okay, now I just need something extra fluffy.
Yeah.
Because like Berserk takes a toll. But on the one hand, I'm like also, especially now, like this is like going on my 3rd reread from start to finish of the series, and it's also kind of bittersweet because with Kentaro Miura's passing and stuff, it's like interesting to read it now, knowing that even though the series is continuing, it won't be continuing in the same way because he isn't the one who is writing it. It's like the rest of the series is based on his notes and finished by his assistants. But like I feel like at someday when I have finished the series again, I will have that 2-hour video essay about like Berserk dismantling toxic masculinity, like doing that. But like I every time I read it, I get inspired because I get inspired because of what it does, and how it has introduced some very like problematic elements in its narrative, considering that it started in the 80s, like in the like 85 or something that Berserk started.
Oh, wow, it's been going a long time.
And during its run, you can see how some of those problematic elements, Miura actually goes back and dismantles and deconstructs them, because he as a writer and as a person has changed, and his views have changed. So it's really interesting from that point as well, like just looking at how he as an author has like changed. But in terms of nonfiction November, I'm currently reading Trans Like Me by C.N. Lester. This basically goes over all of the major talking points and like the sort of like straw man arguments that like right-wing talking heads are using to discredit and dismantle any sort of like trans-related activism. And this is basically deep, like going over those like arguments and debunking them with like science and stuff. So it's very good if you're like if you're someone who has had to have conversations with people who might veer into like transphobia and stuff, this is very good as a primer of like looking at how to debunk some of those basic like arguments. So I've been really enjoying it from that perspective. And then currently I'm also listening to Female Husbands on audio, which is historical nonfiction about all of the recorded cases of women or like I should say assigned female at birth individuals marrying women and being legally recognized as female husbands.
Really?
Yes, it has been really interesting actually. Like I have really been enjoying listening to it, and it basically like has this idea that some of these individuals basically lived for decades as men, and it kind of like deconstructs that like what happened to them when they were outed and publicized as being female husbands, and like some of them like returned to life as or resumed life as women when they were outed or were forced to do so. And it also goes over like this idea of how we kind of erase possible like transgender individuals when we talk about these recorded cases, and how difficult it also is to kind of talk about queer history in this way because we don't have the same language nowadays as they would have had back then. But it's like really interesting. I really would recommend it. The audiobook is on Scribd. And then I'm reading also this chunker, The World for Sale, Money, Power, and the Traders Who Barter the Earth's Resources, by these two guys. So this is basically all about commodity traders who, it's literally what they do, like it's, the selling of like oil and other resources, agriculture, profiting off like different civil wars and political unrest around the world, and like how that works. This basically like is the full scale view of like what is the behind the scenes process of like really like upscale capitalism essentially. And it's pretty dry.
Okay, that's some pretty heavy reading for.
I know that's. But I was like the 54th person online for this book, so now I really have to read it.
Wow.
Because I know that there's like 20 other people waiting in line for it after me.
A new book, a new release?
2021 release.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, those are the things I've been reading and am reading.
Now that I've figured out how to share comments, I want to scroll back up and mention that we've got a couple of shout outs in the chat for Unconquerable Sun by Kate Elliott. Well, there goes Jamie. I guess she's not too comfortable once I start talking. I will lure her back with some churu. She will like that. But we also had a second recommendation for Unconquerable Sun from Ron. That's one that I have not read. I continue to be ashamed that I've not read anything by Kate Elliott. I have a couple of her books, and I know there are all sorts of different places to start, and I just haven't done it.
I never read any of her fantasy. I tried to read Court of Fives back in the day and really hated it.
I tried to lure Mosfet in, but he's over there.
I'm also really disappointed that the Unconquerable Sun sequel didn't come out this year. I know that it got delayed for good reasons or whatever, but I was really hoping to get to it this summer, and I think it's been put off until like April of next year, I think. So, oh well.
We also have some shout outs in the chat to Housekeeper and the Professor, which is something I've not heard of. Is it a book?
By what, Yoko Ogawa? Yes.
Yeah, I think it's by Yoko Ogawa. Oh,
Yeah.
the feeding the world without devouring the planet is actually like, what's that about? Is it basically what it says on the tin? Like, is it nonfiction?
Sounds like a new approach to agriculture.
I mean, world sure knows we need a new approach to everything around here.
Yep.
What I am reading right now, I have still been in like the depths of reading slump, fall reading slump. But what I am reading right now is Sister Light, Sister Dark by Jane Yolen. I'm doing a buddy read of this with Maya from Maya Reads. And she's further ahead in it than me. I've had a sort of stressful week and I fell behind. But this is the first in a trilogy, and this was published, I want to get the date right, in 1988. This is one of the books that vintage books that I picked up at from one of the vendors in the dealer's room at Chicago Worldcon. I picked up the first two books. And this is something that I think I am appreciating the craft of it more than I'm actually enjoying the story. I think that has been true for me, for Jane Yolen's writing that I've read in the past, but this, I think, even more so. The other books of hers I've read are Briar Rose and Finding Baba Yaga. And this is more explicitly a fantasy novel than either of those. So I sort of thought that I might like this more. But so far, I've found myself feeling kind of distanced from it. It's about a girl who's, when she's orphaned as an infant, she's brought to the mountains to be raised by this mystical tribe of warrior women. And their priestess thinks that she might be like the chosen one foretold in a prophecy to be their queen. And it's sort of, so far it's sort of about how the way the adults are trying to raise her, given the possibility that she might be the foretold chosen one, is having an effect on her young life. And there is this thing where the members of this warrior woman religion, they have a goddess and they worship, and through like all of that, they get to have, when they come of age, dark sisters, which is like their other half that is called from a mirror. And we haven't gotten to the point where she gets to call forth her dark sister yet, so it's not really been explained, but like they disappear either like in the daylight or like when there's no moonlight or something. Anyways.
There's a lot going on in that. Like,
and
how far along are you?
Okay, I'm a little over a third of the way through.
And that's everything that has happened so far?
Yes, and also the way this is told, part of what I say about why I feel like Jane Yolen is a writer whose craft I admire more than, I'm able to actually get into emotionally enjoying the books, is that every few pages she'll like cut away to either like a folk song or like a piece of history text that's being written in the future about historians trying to like learn about these warrior women and discounting all the mysticism, or like a ballad or a myth from the area that this takes place in. and it's sort of a lot, and I get what she's doing about sort of building this idea about, you know, history and myth and stories and all of that. Anyways, it's not my favorite thing I've read all year, but I'm enjoying reading more of her work since she's such a well-known and influential writer, specifically in like the areas of fantasy that I'm particularly interested in, fairy tale and mythic fantasy. And you know, I can see in this book why she's known for that with what she's doing and building the mythology and tying in all these different perspectives on this time period in a fictional fantasy history. Anyways, that was a lot about that one book, but I'm not doing nonfiction November because I'm not reading nonfiction. I have never done nonfiction November. November is like the time of year when I'm least likely to want to pick up a nonfiction book. I need cozy things.
I basically just woke up to November like, holy hell, I have not read any nonfiction this year, at least as far as I know. And then I was like, I need to remedy that ASAP. But then I also was like, I haven't read a bunch of manga either. So why not just torture myself and do all of these challenges in the same month? Because that's feasible on top of full-time work.
Yup. I always feel like the minute I decide I'm going to do nonfiction November, that's when I just stop reading nonfiction. Like I'll read plenty of it earlier in the year.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I also feel like that in general with any type of challenge, that the moment I'm like, I'm going to participate in this readathon, or I'm going to do this readathon TBR, and I plan it out, and the moment and I'm really excited for all that reading, and then I'm like, I don't want to touch any of these books that I have picked up.
Yep.
Like I don't know if is it like a self-fulfilling thing or something that by choosing the books you just sort of curse it, like you just like automatically like lose interest or make yourself lose interest. It's interesting.
That's why I don't do like a lot of public TBRs, because the minute that I commit to like actually reading something, I suddenly lose interest.
I mean, I've actually been I've been surprised recently. I did the October TBR, now I did the November TBR, and I'm surprised that I have actually kept up with those plans for the most part. Like not like 100%, but I'm like, wow, who are you? What did you do to Reija? This is not what I'm used to. Also, can I complain a little bit? Because I received the new Nivor novella from Tor, and it's beautiful, but why did Tor.com decide that the third novella is the point where they're gonna give Nivor hardcovers?
I know. I saw it in the bookstore the other day, and I was like,
"Me too."
Dang it! I
am so annoyed because I have the first two. I bought them, like I've pre-ordered each of them as they've come out, and or when they've been published, and the first two are like trade paperbacks. You know, they're nice, they're paperbacks, but like, why would you do a hardcover now? Why didn't you trust Nivor with a hardcover in the first place? Like, give her credit. Yes,
that's the thing, is like they did that with Murderbot too, but then they figured it out after just one book that they were doing hardcovers for 2 onwards. And I feel like by the time you get to 3, you're a little late.
Yeah, at least with Murderbot, because they only had the one, they went back and they released a hardcover version of the first one.
Yeah, it took them a
Yeah.
little while to do that, though, I think.
Yeah, I think
Well,
they did it because they wanted to make that set of like the first 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
yes, but I also am not going to buy the first 2 in hardcover. Like, even though I'm annoyed, like, Tor, you're not making me pay
Yeah.
for the same book twice. It's not gonna happen, Tor.
Right.
But Ron and Elise are saying that the ebook is priced higher too. And this is what I don't understand ever.
Right. Why is
the
the book priced higher just because the print is in hardcover?
yeah, I don't get it. Also, like I just like I don't understand ever why an ebook should cost more than $5.
Yeah.
Because you are literally selling a copy of a copy of a copy. That is easily replicable. You literally have to do Control Alt, Control A, Control C, Control V. Voila.
I don't know. I did break down this year and I bought one like $15 ebook. It was worth it, but I can't afford to do that with every ebook I want to buy.
Yeah. I think the most expensive ebook I bought this year has been This All Come Back Now, which was the Australian Indigenous speculative fiction anthology that I recently finished, and that was 11 euros. But I will say that I also think that that was kind of worth it, and it would have been like getting it physically from Book Depository would have been 38 euros.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would have been a hardcover either. But for some reason, like the Australian, no, you're not supposed to go there. Oh, no. Yes. I love that he just looks into the camera and
He does.
yes, he knows he's handsome and valuable.
He looks grumpy.
So I am hoping that I will finish this buddy read that I'm doing before I leave town for Thanksgiving, because I'm going away just for 2 nights for Thanksgiving, but I'll be taking a bus. And it's going to be like hours and hours on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to figure out what I'll be able to read as bus reading. And like, that's a very specific thing for me. Like, what can I read while I'm like possibly physically uncomfortable in public for hours at a time? Like, that's a very, very specific set of requirements.
Maybe novellas again?
Yeah, I think last time I traveled, I brought a couple novellas with me that I didn't get to. I think I'm gonna bring Language of Roses again.
Graphic novels are always a good pick as well. Graphic novels.
Except they're big, and like, I'm traveling on a bus with practically no luggage.
Well, that is also
true. They tend to be really heavy if they're the big ones too.
Possibly some manga, but again, like, not enough hours of reading to justify the amount of space it takes in a luggage.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they are not usually optimized for ebook reading.
Right, and
like even the digital versions.
Yeah.
Right. I've never tried to read. I think I don't have the type of e-reader that I could read any sort of graphic novels or manga on, even if I tried, because I have the type that's like, it's not a full color screen display. It's like the very basic Kindle display.
The Paperwhite?
It's not even paper white. It's like, we're not even trying to make it white.
I have a slightly older Kindle Fire, and it's decent for single page spreads, but any sort of comic that has like that 2-page spread thing, it's too small. The screen is too small for that.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a Kobo, but like the problem isn't even necessarily that the e-reader, especially with manga, which is black and white, so you can live with like not having the like full color pages all the time. But like the problem is that most often, from my experience, the the volumes are just not formatted correctly for e-readers in the first place. So I found it most easy to just read my ebook versions of manga on a tablet.
Yeah.
I think what I might do is I might do like I might try like the first chapters of a few things to just see what has sort of easy accessible writing. Because there's a sort of amount of focus that I find I do not have in transit. I think I might bring Nettle and Bone with me because T. Kingfisher books tend to be the sort of writing that like I can read even if I don't have all of my brain present.
That's true.
Have you noticed that T. Kingfisher has been getting a lot of like resurgence in the booktube sphere now?
I have. I've seen a
Like
lot of
everyone is talking about her now.
Yeah,
I mean,
everybody
I
has
think it's
discovered her
because
pattern.
Nettle and Bone came out from Tor, which is like a big publisher, which her previous books have been a little more under the radar because they've been indie published, and then like the horror books have been traditionally published over the last few years, but the audience for those is I think smaller than for something like Nettle and Bone.
Yeah, I think a lot of people read Nettle and Bone and went, "Ooh, I want more of this fantasy thing." So they found like her self-published stuff, and
Right.
so like I have seen a bunch of people who read romance suddenly pick up the Paladin romances. It's like
And meanwhile, I remember finding Ursula Vernon in the depths of DeviantArt when she was doing her lizard surrounded by phallic stone imagery.
Oh my god, I remember that era. I remember
Yeah.
finding her on LiveJournal, and yeah.
Oh, I followed Ursula Vernon's LiveJournal as well. Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was
Those were
like,
the days. I feel so old.
oh my god, that was probably like 15 years ago because I was a teenager. I was
Closer to like try 20.
I know.
Like I was in high
That
school.
long? Yeah.
I was like 16 or something. That's close to 20 years ago, literally.
Yeah.
This is where I feel as an internet person younger than I actually am because I wasn't like online on social media or anything online fandom at all until after I graduated college. So like there's a whole generation of this sort of online stuff that I'm old enough to have experienced, except that I didn't.
There's a lot of stuff that I didn't either. Like there are only a few things that I really cared about online from like college onwards. And most of them are revolved around webcomics, which is probably how I got into Ursula Vernon. I just don't remember how I actually encountered her for the first time.
I think for me, it definitely was browsing DeviantArt.
I think, Rachel, I probably picked up Digger because I saw you recommend it, and that was how I discovered her.
Might be, yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, also, I have been really loving the recent, the more people in BookTube specifically getting interested in the Hugo Awards and making content about the Hugo Awards. And I've been loving some of the content where people have been like analyzing the trends of Hugo Awards, and then there's that one blip of like 2015, 2016, and 2017. Like, I don't know what happened here, and I'm like, oh, you sweet.
Oh, you missed out on that.
You missed out on all that drama. But I'm like, oh, I don't know why, but it feels so refreshing to like see people talking about Hugo Awards who are unburdened by the like salacious knowledge of like the whole slates and puppy scenarios.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, thank you. This makes my old calcified heart happy.
Gosh. Yeah.
Because I mean, I found BookTube because of that. Because of that whole drama relating to Hugo Awards. That is how I found
Really?
BookTube. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I was reading George R.R. Martin's, not a blog. And George R.R. Martin was ranting about the whole puppy situation. And I was like, what is this? So I went on YouTube and Googled, and I stumbled upon Claire's and Bree's videos.
Oh.
Yep.
Wow.
And that's how I found BookTube.
I definitely, it went the other way around. I was on BookTube and I discovered the Hugo Awards because people were talking about the puppies.
Mm.
I mean, I knew about the Hugo Awards, but I didn't really know how they worked or anything.
I think like I didn't have like a lot of experience or like active participation in Hugo Awards prior to like actually joining BookTube and like participating in the Helsinki Worldcon. But because I was actively involved in FinCon, which is the like one of the biggest Nordic SFF conventions, I think that's how it kind of like because there's always that what's going on with the Hugo Awards panel or the reaction to Hugo nominees panel that's happening that has happened at almost every single Worldcon ever since I have been going there. So you know, it's kind of like you accidentally learn about those things.
Yep.
Oh, Ron, do we actually have to be grateful for the puppies about something like making Hugos more accessible to other people?
One of the few good things that came out of that was like all the people who got their memberships so they could nominate and vote in subsequent years.
That
Yes.
was me.
That
was
get
me.
a lot more people.
That was
involved in it.
definitely me as well.
I remember being really upset about it because I had first gotten a membership and started like reading and voting on the nominees in 2014. So I was like really jazzed for the Hugo Awards. And then after that first year, everything just started to tank. And I was like, oh God.
I mean, I was recently talking about this with my coworker who I recently discovered also is actively like voting on the Hugo Awards and stuff. And she was like commenting like, yeah, I was kind of like, because I didn't know about any of this like drama, but then there was that one book that was basically just porn that was nominated that one year. And I was like, yes, the Chuck Tingle. Yes, we remember. we remember.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
I hope we never go through something like that again.
Yeah, seriously.
Sorry,
I don't have the energy.
A little lax on my moderating duties here while I try to find all the things I need to start this craft that I apparently, did not actually have.
Well, we can pivot to talking about media.
Let's talk about media.
Have we been watching things?
Yes.
I have actually watched things. This is shocking. I've watched almost the entire first season of Tomorrow on Netflix.
I need to finish it.
I have 2 episodes left.
I mean, I haven't finished it, but I already have at least one episode that I kind of want to nominate for. Nominate for.
I think I would end up probably nominating the entire thing for like, long form. I don't know if any one episode has really stuck out to me. So for people who don't know, Tomorrow is a Korean drama about Grim Reapers who are tasked with saving people who are trying to commit suicide, basically. So despite the fact that it begins with a couple of very comedic episodes, it becomes much more serious as the show goes on, and it tackles some really serious like issues of modern day Korean society. I mean, obviously,
I mean,
suicide. But
it's also like the whole underworld, the way it is set up is that there are different branches and departments of Grim Reapers, so that
Yeah.
there's that, like, the suicide prevention Grim Reapers are only one department of like the
the
whole
risk
thing.
management team.
Yes.
Yeah. And then there's the
Yes.
escort team and the IT team, and yeah. Yes, Elise, it is on Netflix.
And it is actually really nice. I've actually like really the main male lead. I have watched now at least 3 different series with him.
Oh, I
And
don't remember the character. I have a difficult time remembering the character's name, but the actor is Rowan, I think.
yes,
Yeah.
but like
I don't really
he
care
has
for him.
if you there's this another series on Netflix called The King's Affection, which is a historical fiction about basically a woman emperor who has to disguise herself as a man and live and rule the kingdom basically as an emperor while disguising herself like as a man, because of shenanigans. And he is the leading man in that series. And that series was actually really nice. It was actually on Bernadette Banner's channel as well, because they were talking about with a Korean dress history content creator about the accuracy of the
Yeah.
costumes.
Anyway, I don't really love the main character in Tomorrow. Okay, so who is the main character? Is it, what is his name, Choi Jong-woo or whatever? But then there's Go-ryung.
Well, the intern is the main
Yeah,
character.
but the woman seems like way more of the main focus to me, especially as the series goes on with like her backstory and stuff. I don't know. To be honest, I mainly continued watching it. Like when it got kind of serious and I started crying in every single episode, I was like, why am I doing this to myself? And then I remembered Lee Soo-hyuk, who plays Jong-gil or whatever, is extremely attractive.
Yes, he is. He has one of those faces that could cut glass.
Oh God, yeah.
Like,
and like,
his cheekbones
he
are
shows
so
up
sharp.
for like just a couple of minutes in every episode, and he steals the show. It's like that. This is why I'm watching like 3 hours of this every day, is for like 5 minutes of this guy.
He is fantastic, and he should be in more. He should have more screen time.
Well, I told you, like I watched the first couple of episodes and I was like, who is this guy? What else has he been in? And I found out he's never played a lead in everything. He's always been like second. It's like, why?
It's just sad because he doesn't even have that second lead energy. Like he exudes like main lead energy, in my opinion. He has way more charisma than the first, like the main
this
main
question
lead.
got answered? Is it on Netflix?
Yes, it's on Netflix.
He plays a sexy dark vampire in The Scholar That Walks at Night, which I will eventually probably like pay for a Viki subscription so I can watch a couple episodes of that, because I might be mildly obsessed. He has better hair in that one, so you know I care about that.
I really need to catch up because I have this really annoying thing with K-dramas, is that like maybe it's because I watch too many of them back to back, that sometimes they start to feel a little samey, and then I park them, and I just need to go back on a spree and like finish some of the series that I have started. With Tomorrow, I think it's a lot easier because it's actually like a lot more interesting because it has a speculative twist, as opposed to many of the other series.
Am I the only one who just can't get interested in anything that doesn't have a speculative twist?
I mean,
I watched The Crown. I watch historical dramas that are not speculative.
See, I watched like the first season of The Crown back when it was popular, and then like I ditched the second season partway through.
The first 2 seasons are the best. The ones with Claire Foy are definitely the best.
I do feel like the closer we get to the present timeline, the less interesting it's becoming, because now we're the fifth season is in the Diana era, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I remember that era. I was a kid in that era, but I have memories of like Lady Di, and my mom was like a staunch fan
Mhm.
of her. Like one of the first like news items that I remember ever seeing on television was when they televised that she had passed away.
Wow,
Like
really?
that, that's the first like major news thing that I remember.
I don't remember. I was 5, I think. Was I 5? Was that 1995?
Yeah, somewhere around that, 1995 or 1996. I was in elementary school already.
Yeah, I was very young. I didn't know about any of this stuff until many years later. So
Right.
I
I'm also just a smidge too young.
yeah. My
I'm
issue with the
just
show now
old.
is like I like the production of it. I find it interesting whenever they change the actors and stuff. But yeah, I'm like really not into the Princess Diana era. I've never really cared about any of that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, I just did the wrong thing with my beating. Starting off on totally the wrong foot. I am watching the wrong K-drama apparently, because I'm not watching Tomorrow. I'm watching Alchemy of Souls.
I have had that recommended to me by Netflix so many times, and I'm like, okay, I guess
It
I
took
could. I
me
guess I could.
a few episodes to really like get to the point where I wanted to keep watching and not stop, but I'm there now, and the only reason I'm paused right now is just because I've had other like life things going on this week, and I haven't let myself, sit down with those meaty long episodes. But I recommended it to a family member back when I started it, and she's already all the way through it, and now I need to catch up because I am behind, and there's a second season coming next month. And the second season is going to be like half the length of the first season. So like, but second season already coming within like a year. And I don't know if the second season is going to be like the end or if there's going to be more after that. I have no clue. But I'm like 7 episodes in, and I'm deeply invested.
What is
There's
it about? Because it's Netflix wants me to
Well,
watch it too, and I just haven't looked at it.
was Alchemy of Souls the one where with the blind person who gets possessed by a sorcerer, or am I remembering a completely different series?
Yes, that is the basic setup. At the point where I'm at, like, I don't know if the person whose body she possessed is going to be important or not. At present, it's not really important. She's an assassin, and she basically like is cornered by the authorities, and to escape she switches into a body that is not the body she tried to switch into, and so she is weak and has lost all her magic power and has to pretend to be a servant, and she ends up sort of teaming up with this guy from one of the like noble mage families who needs a master to teach him, because like the edict was declared when he was born that he was going to have his magic sealed off, and he was never going to be allowed to learn to be a mage. And so he figures out who she is, and he's like, I will protect you if you become my teacher.
Yeah, I feel I was like, I had that recommended it to me, and it's in my like to watch list, but also like I have been very torn about it because I personally just don't like the premise of like she possesses a blind person and then basically pretends to be blind for like,
she's not pretending to be blind anymore. That happened after, like, that was part of what made it hard for me to get into in like the first episode or two, but she's amongst people who don't know anything about the person whose body she possessed, and like she has like the soul switching means that she has magic eyes or something, and that's like the weird explanation for why she can see. But yeah, after a couple episodes, it moves beyond that, and I'd sort of managed to forget that you know, there was that whole shtick in the beginning where she was pretending to be blind. But there is like politics involved with the guy, and whether he's, you know, has you know, backstory that he's unaware of, that's the reason why he's a threat to the emperor and stuff like that. And you know, she's got backstory with another one of the sons of the noble mage families, but he obviously doesn't know it's her because she's switched bodies, and shenanigans are ensuing. I'm at a point where I kind of don't know where it's going, but I am hooked right now.
Is it one of those shows that's got like 60 episodes, or is it shorter than that?
It's shorter than 60.
I think it's somewhere around like 20 episodes.
Yeah, it's 20, and then there are 10 more episodes coming next month.
I also watched, like, here's the thing. I watched this contemporary like K-drama about, it's basically like a trauma cleaning service. It's called Move to Heaven. And the idea is that the main character is autistic, and he kind of like can't, he basically like needs a guardian in order to like do his day-to-day like activities and stuff. And his father passes away, so his uncle, who is an ex-convict, gets assigned as his new guardian. And the idea is that they need to work together at this trauma cleaning service for like 3 months before he is officially like designated his guardian.
Okay.
And the autistic representation, I use representation in quote marks, is so utterly uncomfortable to watch, because it's clearly like this is a completely neurotypical person doing an approximation of what they think and what the director and scriptwriter think what a highly like autistic person acts, and it's like very uncomfortable. But I have to say that I watched the entire thing because of the damn sexy uncle. Because the uncle is also participating in these like underground boxing matches, so he spends like the like majority of the show like shirtless, and he has like a mullet and shaved sides, and he's like the most handsome piece of ass that I've seen in a long time. And I have to say that I basically just watched the entire first season just to see him like without his shirt off. I'm not even embarrassed to admit it.
Oh my gosh. Kelsey, I think Di is backstage.
Oh,
Hi, I'm here. I worked out my frustration on my yarn,
Yay.
and now I'm frogging.
The yarn adventure. I was kind of hoping you'd showed up because I have Marvel things.
Oh, I am
I-
so behind on Marvel. Like, I have not seen like the last. Hold on, what was the last? I think the last Marvel show I watched was Hawkeye. I have not watched Marvel in a hot minute. I got really burned out. Like, I haven't seen any of the I haven't seen any of the movies that have released this year. Although I am gonna try and see Black Panther.
I just saw Black Panther last Sunday.
I do want to watch Black Panther because I've heard really good things, and like I'm really excited to see how they do Namor.
I think. Oh! Speaking of another sexy uncle, like the guy they got to play Namor is like, thank you, universe, thank you for gracing with us with this person, because like he was like the highlight. But I will say, Black Panther 2 has the same problem that Black Panther, the first Black Panther has, is that they are like, here we present to you this villain who is not actually a villain, because we apparently like it was the same thing with Killmonger. It's like, yeah, here's this guy, and you don't actually know how to root for the heroes properly because the guy who is the villain is making so much sense.
See, I don't think Namor is a villain. I think he's more of an anti-hero who, and that's also kind of aligned with how he is in the comics, where he.
Yes. I mean, I'm just thinking, like, in the comics, yes, but in the framing of the movie, he is a villain.
Yeah.
can I ask, because the first Black Panther movie was the first Marvel movie I ever saw. Do I need to have watched any of the intervening movies between the first Black Panther and this one in order to understand this?
I would say Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame.
Because I've not watched a single one of the Avengers movies. I'm not watching that whole series to
I
get to this one.
actually think that you don't have to watch any of them. You just need to be aware that you just need to be aware of the whole Thanos snap happening, and that is the only thing. They don't really reference any of the other movies very much. It is pretty self-contained. From like there's like two instances where they basically refer the whole like time when people blipped out of existence.
Okay, I have
Because of
seen
the
other
Thanos
Marvel
snap, and
media
other than that,
referred to this, so I'm aware that it happened.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think you should be fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's like almost no references to other Marvel movies aside from like the previous Black Panther. Like, you should be fine with just having seen the previous Black Panther, actually.
But like, I don't need to know what happened with any of these particular characters in any of the other Avengers movies.
No.
The only thing you need to know is T'Challa and Shuri got blipped.
Oh, I did not know that.
And not necessarily even that. That is not actually. Well, the only thing
I would say that, and I've heard that a character who started recurring in some of the other movies and TV shows shows up in a much more prominent role. So she's basically, she's played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and she's super shady, and that's kind of, and she's like,
her character in this movie was basically just set up for other things. She has a minor role in this as a shady CIA director, which, to be honest, could have been cut from the entire movie, but like it's basically like very obvious setup for other things, not necessarily very crucial to understanding the plot of this movie. But I liked it. I liked everything to do with Namor. Namor was great. I wanted more of him. I hope he gets his own stuff too.
I dropped my little piece of wire. So if we can go backwards a bit now that Di is here, what are you working on? What are you reading?
Well, right now I'm currently frogging a shawl that I had started because while both of the yarns that I got said sock wool, they were from different companies and there were different thicknesses. And it was like enough where it was really annoying. So yesterday when I was in Portland, I got 2 skeins of this Malabrigo. The color is not showing up well, but it's like this beautiful purple blue that I'm going to be using instead. With this gray, which is also from the same company, so it should work better. And then I'll just save this knitted wit paprika for something else. So that's what I'm currently doing. And then for what I'm reading, I'm currently in the middle of a couple of books. I started An Afro-Indigenous History of the United States by Kyle T. Mays. I'm only like a few chapters in, but I'm really enjoying it. So it's basically looking at how Black and Indigenous histories intersect, starting from colonial America. So I heard Mara from Books Like Woe talk about it, and it sounded interesting, and my library had a copy. And then the other thing I'm reading is a mystery. It's an audiobook. I'm like halfway through, and now I can't remember the title. It is If Hoopla Would Load. Murder on the Red River. It's a historical mystery written by an Indigenous author, Marcy C. Rendon. And it's set in like the border area between North Dakota and Minnesota. So I'm enjoying it so far. I like the audiobook. And then was there another question, or was it just what am I reading? What am I working on? Or?
Who are
we're in
you?
the midst of our media discussion, so if you wanted to join it, we were already discussing that, but if you had any other media you wanted to.
I see Elise is watching Andor, and I'm also watching Andor, and it is so good. It is probably the best Star Wars has been in a very long time, ever since Rogue One. And I will stand by that statement.
Under is on my list next because I just finished watching She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. So now I'm freed up for Andor. I actually really liked She-Hulk up until the ending. The finale was like, not all that great, because it went into that whole meta thing, like breaking the fourth wall in like basically like smashing the fourth wall actually. And there was some like, it's like really like poking at the thing, like Kevin Feige is like doing all of the things and like is the mastermind behind like all the Marvel shows. So it's like
that's very on brand for She-Hulk though.
Yeah, it's just that something that I feel like the finale took away from the rest of the series, which was building up to like doing some really awesome things, and then the way they handled the finale was really distracting. And also distracted from the like main point and the whole like main conflict.
That's sort of how I felt about WandaVision, which is the only one of the Marvel shows that I've actually watched in its entirety, where like I was really, really into how it was gradually unfolding episode by episode. And then the finale was just boring. Like the whole time I was watching, I was like, by the end, when we figure out what's going on, I'm going to want to go back and watch this all again from the beginning. And like the finale kind of killed that for me.
The finale, I think, was also suffered where I think they were supposed to have an extra episode and they were filming when COVID hit. And so if you notice like all the weird staging in like the last episode or two, part of it I think is because they were one of the first things to come back.
There's also the thing that like the finale is basically setting up Wanda for the next Doctor Strange.
Right, for a movie that I knew from the start I wasn't going to watch because I hadn't watched the first one.
I was honestly interested in Doctor Strange because I love America Chavez and I like the actress that they got for her. She was in the first season of The Babysitters Club, which is excellent, and I'm still sad Netflix canceled that show. But I heard about what they did with that movie, and it was part of my Marvel burnout because there were 2 movies in a row. So first it was Doctor Strange, and then it was actually no, it's just been multiple movies in a row where they've been like just fridging women or like destroying their characters, and that is a significant factor to my Marvel burnout.
Which actually it was like a thing that She-Hulk lampshades in one of the episodes is the like fridging. She makes a joke about, is this the moment where I'm gonna be fridged? And I'm like, I feel really torn about you making this joke in the context of multiple Marvel properties doing this exact thing where you fridge the female characters, like, you know, like, so yeah. Anyway, yeah, go on.
Yeah, so I've been watching Andor, and then I also started watching The Big Brunch on HBO Max. So this is a cooking competition show hosted by Dan Levy from Schitt's Creek, and then it's judged by Sola El Whaley, who is my favorite former Bon Appetit Test Kitchen person, and then I can't remember who the other judge is. He's not that memorable to me. I'm sorry, dude. But I've enjoyed it. So I haven't seen the newest batch of episodes they dropped, but I watched the first 3. And it gives me like Great British Bake Off vibes where the contestants are really nice to each other. Like they'll help each other out. And like the judges so far have been giving like really good feedback to them. So they're just like, look, if you're going to be doing something simple, you have to be doing it perfect. These are some areas that you can improve. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying that. I think it's been really fun, and I really like Sola judging. I deeply respect her for the first episode for immediately double fisting some whiskey and a cocktail. And I also had like flashbacks to when I was in grad school in Canada, because the first cocktail that their bartender makes for the judges is a Caesar, and so it's like a Bloody Mary, but with clamato, which is like clam infused tomato juice. And I don't know, like I don't like Bloody Marys. I don't like Bloody Marys, so I don't drink Bloody Marys. But the roommate who was living with my sister and I loved Caesar, so he would always make them, and there was always clamato in the fridge. So it was just like a little flashback. And then I also started watching the new season of Leverage Redemption because that started airing on I think the app is called Freevee, but you can get it on Prime. It is free. I've been saving the 3rd episode that dropped for today, but I've watched the first 2 and I really enjoyed it, and I'm really glad that my angry anti-capitalist show is back.
Yay.
Yeah, the first episode had some digs about the UK government looking the other way for Russian oligarchs, hiding money, doing atrocities on English soil. So my show's back. I'm very happy.
Oh dear. I also watched or partly watched, I haven't finished it, the Empress that Rachel was watching about Sissi.
Mm-hmm. I did finish that, yeah.
I have not finished it. Oh god.
Let's put it this way. I don't think I'm gonna watch season 2 of that one.
Let's just say, I grew up on the Romy Schneider adaptations of Sissi, which were also heavily romanticized. And I grew up on the very weird cartoon show about Sissi as well, which was, let's not get into that, but I'm just like, I'm way too familiar with the actual history of Sissi. So having a new adaptation in 2022 that completely just hook, line, and sinker takes on the whole romanticizing of like her relationship with like, oh my god, Franz Josef.
Mhm.
It's so like, not to mention that their age gap is like similar to Princess Diana, and like there are parallels to like Prince Charles and Princess Diana in the whole dynamic of that situation, except
Oh,
that
really?
in terms of like the age difference and how unprepared like she was for the court life, and her whole like how poorly treated she was by her like by the Queen Mother.
Mhm.
She had like practically all of her children taken away from her to be educated and raised by the Queen Mother and stuff. So having this whole like romance, this sweeping romance between the two of them, it's like really uncomfortable. And this is not even getting into the fashions of the movie, which
Yeah. I mean, there's,
the
from what I gather, she also had a pretty well-known eating disorder as
yes,
well.
yes,
And I get the feeling that they're going to completely skip over that.
yeah. She also like had like a huge fixation on her appearance and
Yes.
like beauty. Part of the reason why she vehemently disliked, for example, being pregnant was that she saw it as like a threat to her appearance and the control that she needed to have over her own body. She is one of the most infamous like examples of like someone who perpetuated and made a trend out of tight lacing.
Yeah.
So yeah, like she like the actual life and history of Sissy is really interesting. I'm just really sad we never get to see that in adaptation, because they're so obsessed about the romance between her and the emperor.
And I think they set her up to be kind of like not like other girls and the
Yeah,
like manic pixie dream girl of the era or something. And I was like,
yeah.
no.
I mean, part like I'm so conflicted because like partly because I was also like skimming and rereading like Rose of Versailles when I was going to, and I was like, part of the like the tone of the new Sissy series feels like the tone of Rose of Versailles, where it takes like these actual historic events and just make them super melodramatic and like amp up the
Yeah.
ante, and
That's
everyone is
interesting
just cackling behind their hands and stuff.
Yeah.
And that also was how I felt about the fashion. But like her sister cutting her hair and coming up with like 21st century bangs, and
I
like
was like,
that was the moment where I'm like, okay, my suspension of disbelief is now out the window. Goodbye.
yeah, I saw that and was like, did they really just do that?
Yes, it was bad. So
Oh.
I'm not sure if I have the stomach to finish the first season even.
I don't know. It was interesting enough to watch what 8 or so episodes, but I don't think I would revisit it whenever it comes back for a second season. I think it would just begin to really irritate me.
I will say though, the guy they got to play the Russian crown prince was good looking. He was very good looking.
He was cute, but he needed to wash his hair.
I mean that too, but he looked kind of like Christoph Waltz actually. Like he kind of had that similar vibe. I wasn't paying attention to his hair though. I was paying too much attention to his jawline.
You know me. I always notice the hair. I'm like, did they go for like the long, greasy look, or?
Yep.
I've started looking at the hair mostly to like look at the wigs, because one of my friends who I'm in a group chat with is like always commenting on bad wigs, and it's rubbed off on me.
Yes.
One of the things, back to Alchemy of Souls, that I'm really finding interesting about that show is the sort of mashup of visual influences in the world building. So like you have both characters with like some very historical looking styling, and then also some characters with some very modern looking styling, and sort of a mashup, because it's a fantasy world and it's fine to do that. And so like you'll have a character who has like a long flowing wig, and then you'll have like a guy with short bleached hair and like multiple ear piercings. And it's different visually in terms of that sort of styling from any other fantasy show I've seen. And it doesn't, for me at least, it's pulling it off in a way that doesn't look wrong. It doesn't look like, what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't necessarily look inconsistent because it's a fantasy world, and they're telling you that all of these styles can coexist in this world.
I mean, it sounds like it's going for kind of like anime aesthetic as well. Like I remember,
bit, yeah.
Another fantasy show that did a similar thing, also a K-drama, was Faith in 2010 or 2011, somewhere around that, which had Lee Min-ho as the main character, and that also had like people in. It was like a historical fiction context, but people were like X-Men and they had superpowers, but they were like actual historical figures, but some of them had superpowers. And there was also that whole like one person had like this flowing white wig and stuff, and then there was that agile ninja guy who had like spiked hair. So yeah, similar vibe seems to be going on.
Yeah, except it's not strict. It's not historical, other than the fact that it's like got some historical looking costumes, because it is like a secondary fantasy world. Whoops, I just dropped my thing.
Oh no.
It's fine. It's not broken. It's plastic.
Is it a secondary fantasy world?
It is. It's not our world, and I feel like that's uncommon enough in K-dramas that like they have to go out of their way to explain it at the beginning. Like, this is a kingdom that has never existed on any map. I'm like, I know how fantasy works, but that's not particularly common in K-dramas.
Yeah.
Can someone give me a sense of like how we're doing on time here? We've got like half an hour left. Should I be moving us on, or should I be, filling a time so that we don't rush? I feel like I rushed us through the beginning maybe too fast.
That's fine.
It's fine.
The other thing I've been watching that is not fiction media is the one sport that I sometimes watch is figure skating.
Yes.
And the Grand Prix series has been happening. So there's been a competition every weekend for the last few weeks in different time zones. And Peacock, which has the like exclusive rights to all of the skating competitions in the US, has decided that for like music licensing purposes, they are not going to have replays of any skating events available at all this season, full stop. So if you want to watch NHK Trophy, you've got to watch it in Japan time zone, which I did on like Friday, Saturday, and screwed up my entire sleep schedule.
My question, because I haven't been able to watch any of this, is Yuzuru Hanyu dominating?
Oh, he's retired.
Yeah.
He did? No.
He did retire. He's got a YouTube channel now.
Yeah. So what were you saying, Kelsey?
Anyways, so you can, if you miss it on Peacock, which I have been doing on occasion, like it's possible to watch it if you're in the US with a VPN. But like those of you outside the US, like many countries, all of these competitions are free to watch on YouTube. And I am just mad at NBC that they have like the exclusive American rights to this sport and they are sinking it. And
Oh, sorry.
no, you may comment.
I was just gonna say I am not surprised considering how NBC kind of does a really shitty job with the Olympics.
Yes, they are doing an exceptionally shitty job. Anyways, Rhea, next weekend's event is going to be in Espoo, Finland.
Ah. Oh,
So I
God.
will be watching an event in your time zone.
Maybe I should find some time to actually pay attention, because I have been very bad.
The most thrillingly deep field next week, but it is the last of the stops that will determine who goes to the Grand Prix final. So there is like suspense.
I mean, I feel like lately the only sport that I have been paying any attention to has been the like Finnish championships regarding dressage.
Ooh.
Dressage.
Yes. But that is mostly because I used to do dressage on a competitive level, so it's like it's more like a personal curiosity about like how it's going.
Yeah, like I have never even slightly figure skated at all. I watch it because it is so incredible to me that any human being can do that.
And also pretty costumes.
And also pretty costumes, and sometimes fun music, sometimes just terrible music choices and terrible costumes, and then you can make fun of them.
And sometimes terrible music choices and bad choreography that doesn't fit the music.
Yes.
Are the Russians still banned?
Yes. No Russians. They're holding their own events, and they are live streaming their own events on YouTube, free to watch, whatever country you're in. So, like, I'm a little grumpy that if you're in the United States, it is easier to watch Russian figure skating events this year than American or international figure skating events. Like, NBC, what are you doing?
The worst.
The worst. So
I finished ripping things out. Thank God.
I need to switch to like larger DPNs because these are freaking up my gauge, which was expected, but I didn't have anything else on hand. So going from like 10 millimeters to 5 millimeters was a bad idea.
That's a huge difference, Rhea.
I know, but I wanted to proceed. I wanted to make like.
I know.
Most likely what I'm gonna do is that I will switch to the proper size, and then I will basically do a few rounds without any decreases to kind of make up for the difference, and then start doing the decreases again. It's not that deep. It's a witch hat. It's supposed to look a little lopsided and wonky. The more lopsided and wonky, the better.
And it's going to be felted in the end, so
Yes.
you can always zhuzh it around with the felting.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
So this is what I'm doing here. Is I'm at a stage where I can sort of show and tell what I'm doing. I have a little ring of beads around the top, and then I'm starting 6 chains going down around the side.
Ooh.
Oh, I like that idea.
And they're gonna come together at the bottom, maybe with a dangly bit at the bottom.
Yeah.
Di, is this the sort of thing that you might like as a Christmas present in lieu of a bracelet?
Yeah.
Okay. because like I definitely wanted to make some of these like just for me, but also they're something that I would like to send as gifts.
Yeah, I
Do
would
you
just
like-
need to put it in a place where things 1 and 2.
I intentionally bought the plastic balls instead of the glass ones to make them cat proof.
Okay.
They will still look dangly and attractive, but it will not break if it falls.
Okay, this is the last round I'm gonna knit because otherwise the gauge is gonna get all wonked up.
Oh God. My neighbors are being loud. I hope you guys can't hear that.
No, not at all. Let's see. Do we want to move on to anticipated releases in books and media?
I have an anticipated release that doesn't come out till next year, but I'm really excited about it.
Please share.
So Jonathan Strahan is coming up with a new anthology that is all about witches and witch stories. And let's see, I just recently, so it's the Book of Witches, and it will have stories from P. Jelly Clark, Amal El-Mohtar, Garth Nix, Darcy Littlebadger, Cherie Renee Thomas, and it will be illustrated by Alyssa Winans.
Oh my God.
It will have stories from Ken Liu, Premi Muhammad, Tochi Onyebuchi, Kelly Robson, Angela Slatter, Tade Thompson, etc., etc., etc. And also there was apparently they did an open call submission for specifically BIPOC authors. So it will also introduce, like, was it 4 stories that are from authors that have never been published in any previous like anthologies. So like new authors. And it's coming out from Harper Voyager next summer. And I'm like, yes, yes.
I am so excited about that author list. That sounds amazing.
Yes.
And I love the artists too.
I'm already like pre-order. Thank you. I like Rachel. Will this be another Jonathan Strahan anthology that we will be reading together? Because I'm
yes,
hyped.
yes.
I'm so hyped for this.
That sounds good. I really need to stay more on top of what Jonathan Strahan is editing because, yeah.
This is why I'm hating what is happening to Twitter right now, because that is how I mostly like find out about like new releases, is that someone retweets or a publisher is like cover reveal for this thing, and I'm like, yay.
Right. Like if Twitter ends up crashing and burning, I need somewhere else to follow all of the publishers, or I need to start actually checking my email where I get their newsletters.
So I just signed up for a place which I think will work better than Mastodon. It's called Hive Social. It's like if Twitter and Tumblr had a baby, it's still like very like young and a little rough around the edges, but Star Wars Twitter found it, and they're like, you know what, this seems like a good place. You can post images, you can post GIFs, you can like follow people, you can block people. It's not like a federated timeline like Mastodon. And so far, like I'm liking it. So I would recommend Hive. If folks are looking for a Twitter alternative. Like I found out about because Daniel Jose Older joined and was talking about it.
I'm just hoping publishers will find this thing because I don't want to join TikTok. Please don't make me join TikTok.
See, I'm on TikTok and I don't see it as a Twitter alternative. I see it as like a YouTube alternative for when I don't have the energy to make a full YouTube video.
See, I just know that I'm too old and curmudgeon-y to like enjoy TikTok, and I've made peace with that. I have made peace with the fact that TikTok is just not good for my psychology.
Same. I'm to the point now where like I want to ditch pretty much all social media. I'm I really, really want a reason to never look at Twitter again.
I think
And
I would be
I seriously thought
happier
about
if I
leaving
never
Instagram
looked at
too,
Twitter
but
again.
I mean, probably most of us would. But I also know that I have spent an inordinate amount of time on Twitter.
that's my problem with Twitter is doom scrolling. It's such a
Yeah.
time suck, and I end up always getting into like weird depressive spirals with the news because of Twitter.
But also, like, I consented to the terms of service. I didn't consent to some asshole buying the whole platform and running it to the ground in the span of 2 weeks. Like,
Is anybody taking bets on whether the World Cup is gonna like totally trash the service?
Oh, I think it's gonna break.
I feel like it's like on a countdown almost. I'm not really sure when hasn't the World Cup started?
It started today.
Okay.
I know it was Qatar versus Ecuador, and last I saw Ecuador was up 2-0.
Okay. I don't know. I didn't realize that the World Cup was one of like the biggest stressors on the platform.
That does not surprise me because
What timing?
I mean, we were just recently laughing at work about the whole thing when Musk had been like, now it's time to like shut down all of this bloatware.
Oh,
and then they accidentally shut down the two-factor authentication, and people couldn't log into Twitter because they couldn't receive any messages about the two-factor authentication because it was one of the bloatware microservices that had been shut down. And at work, we were just like taking popcorn and being like, oh wow, like this is a dumpster fire for a whole like another level.
I'm not gonna lie, I've been on Twitter quite a bit, just scrolling for the news snippets about the emails that Musk has been sending out because they are gems of comedy.
I mean, I watched the Daily Show with Trevor Noah, and Roy Wood Jr. did a segment where he was reading out the emails that Musk had written, but in the voice of like a football coach. So basically, like doing like this these aggressive pep talks in the like football coach voice. It was like, well, yeah. If you spin the context in that way, it comes across.
Send me your screenshots of your 10 most salient lines of code. I'm like, oh my god.
Like it has basically been the meme of tell me you don't know anything about programming and software engineering without saying that you don't know anything about programming and software engineering. It has basically been that whole meme.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah, they were talking about it in the new ICMI or the In Case You Missed It podcast from Slate, which I highly recommend. Like, it's very entertaining look at internet culture and stuff. But they were talking about how Elon is he's trying to approach it like a tech problem, but it's not a tech problem. Like, it's a social media platform. Like, it's something that's completely different than. I don't know where well, I see Leia. Leia's on the book throne because she's like, you're not using it. It's mine now.
Here's a MOSFET.
Hello. Hello, sweet void.
He is very void. Also,
I see are the big.
He doesn't want to be here. Also, I had to ambush him.
He looks super void on camera.
I think I know where Luke is. I think he's under the covers of my bed because it has been very cold lately. Like, it has been in like the mid-20s when I wake up in the morning. And we aren't even getting snow for it being this cold.
Oof.
You did get some snow though, right?
We did. A few weeks ago, it was like during a heavy precipitation that we were getting a storm, atmospheric river, I think. And we weren't supposed to get snow. And all of a sudden I look outside, I'm like, wait, is that? And it like snowed enough where I had to brush off my car the next morning because I was driving to the airport.
Yeah, my indoor temperature currently is 68 Fahrenheit.
Same here.
I
Yeah.
wish I knew what my indoor temperature was, but my heating system is shit, and I have a dial that gives me a range, but it doesn't really tell me anything.
I have heating units with a dial with absolutely no numbers on them. It's just hot on one side and cold on the other.
Well, we also have currently, because of the energy crisis, we have this national like energy saving program where everyone is encouraged to save up on electricity by turning off like all the unnecessary appliances and like turning off the heaters and stuff like that. And I'm like, we're currently having like -5 degrees Celsius. I don't want to turn off my heater. Like, I don't want this passive aggressive like actually you will sleep better if your room temperature in your bedroom is 18 degrees Celsius. And I'm like, no, I don't want to sleep in 18 degrees Celsius.
Mm-mm.
How cold is that?
If 20 is 68, I think it's somewhere around 65 or like
that's about as cold
64.
as I keep my room at
Although
night.
I'll say, like, my nighttime temperature in the winter is 63.
I mean,
So
I'm already going to sleep with fully like woolen socks, leggings, pajama pants, t-shirt, and a long-sleeved shirt, and I have a weighted blanket, and I'm still cold. So
I
Get an
feel
electric
you.
blanket.
I'm one of those sort of perpetually cold people.
yeah, I have such a poor, like, my blood circulation is a joke. Like
I
like
highly
they call
recommend-
me a lizard person.
I highly recommend getting an electric blanket.
I do
I
have an
I
electric
have an
blanket.
electric blanket that my friend gave me last year for either Christmas or my birthday, or I forget which. It's wonderful.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Daniel Jose Older,
Oops.
has anyone heard of this? This has come out this year.
I have it. I haven't read it yet. I know Marinés was doing a Twitter thread of like her top books of the year, and that was on it. So I'm gonna try and read it in December because I would like to nominate it for the list.
It has lovely map end pages.
ooh, pretty.
Ooh.
And it's weird. It's from Rick Riordan Presents. And
Yeah,
I have not heard anyone talk about this, but I found it on library. And then I was like,
it's
okay.
their first YA novel because prior they've only been doing middle grade with that imprint. So
Yeah.
So
That's what I was surprised about, because I was like, wait a minute, I read the synopsis and this doesn't sound like a middle grade.
yeah, it's YA.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we've gone a while having gone off the topic of anticipated things we're looking forward to. Rachel, did you have anything, forthcoming?
I'm not sure that I have anything. I haven't looked at like the upcoming lists in a little while. I did get my copy of Sea Sparrow though, so yay.
I got it from the library, so I have that as well.
That's gonna be my Thanksgiving book because I have it out from the library as well.
Yeah.
My pre-order of the next Witch Hat Atelier is on its way to me. It has been dispatched, so I'm looking forward to having that.
Oh, and I don't actually know when this is coming out, but Arkady Martine's Subterranean Press publication Rose House. I think it's up for pre-order tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Nice.
I'm probably just
another Subterranean release I'm not going to be able to get.
Put it this way, I have a feeling, I think it's limited to 1,000 copies, like the physical version. I have no idea if they're going to ever do digital. I don't know if I will get one. The last couple times I've tried to get one of these things, that it's like sold out in like 30 seconds. So
I mean, also like I'm kind of like, I understand the whole like prestige and limited edition thing of Subterranean Press, like that's the whole shtick. But at the same time, I'm also like, I so wish they wouldn't limit their the release of their digital releases to like being US and UK only, because let me tell you, as a Finnish person trying to like get digital access to ebooks from Subterranean Press is a whole other shit show.
Yeah. Unless they like the foreign rights are picked up or something
Yeah.
that's published elsewhere. And I mean you have to wait years for that in some cases.
Like usually like it's like some of the Aliette de Bodard Juya universe things have come out in ebook and have been released in other regions like
Mhm.
6 months to a year after the initial
And,
release.
No, I wonder if she does some of that herself because she has
I
gotten
think she
into
does.
She
Yeah.
does.
somewhat. So
Speaking
she may-
of, I am mad at myself because I was I had like a pre-approved eARC link for the Red Scholars Wake, and I didn't realize that it was archived on November 4th,
Oh no.
Oh no.
and I missed out. And I was like, dang.
I
I had not logged into NetGalley in years.
Me neither.
I'm hoping that I get off the Illumicrate waitlist for the December box because Red Scholars Wake is going to be the book.
Oh, really?
I'm also on the Illumicrate wait list and also kind of sort of hoping to.
I had no idea. I'll
Get it
probably just order the print copy once it's available. I think the US print edition is coming out like from like her
It's coming out from her agent, like the last of
agency.
the.
And I think the print edition might take a little longer than the ebook, but I will probably just wait and order the print edition when it's available.
I'm
Because
not gonna lie.
but like
Illumicrate-
dang, because I wanted to be reading that now. I wanted to be reading that this week, and I was like, I'm ready to read it, and then I went to download it, and it had already been archived. Like no.
When did you get the thing to like? When were you approved for it?
So there was like a Google form to request an eARC, and I got I did sit on the email for a while when I got the email because it didn't occur to me that it would be archived like an entire 20 days before the release.
Seems kind of odd.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I got the email on October 7th. So I waited on it like a month, which I should not have done, but I had not logged into NetGalley in ages, and it made me update my profile in all sorts of ways, and I wasn't ready to do that.
Yeah.
But I missed out, and I'm mad. But that is a book I am definitely looking forward to that's coming out next week. And then in terms of like media and movies, I am, you know, a very basic Disney girl who gets excited when there's a new Disney animated film coming out and they've got a Thanksgiving release. Strange World that they've not been promoting at all. No one seems to know it's happening, but it's not a musical, so I go in with more caution because the musicals tend to be more my thing, but it's supposed to be like pulp sci-fi adventure inspired, and the visuals look stunning. It's about a family that goes on
the whole thing where Disney was like, this is the first gay protagonist that
they did it. I'm not getting my hopes up because they always say that they've got another first gay character coming.
But this time it's a protagonist.
Sure.
I am not holding my breath for that.
But I am holding my breath for these beautiful alien creatures that look really awesome.
But I'm just saying that might be one of the reasons they have not promoted it, is that if there is if there is some central queerness that they can't edit out, they might not want to promote it that much.
This is true. But like they did not promote Encanto at all. No one knew that existed when it was in theaters, and no one watched it until it was on Disney Plus. So they're
Okay.
also
That is so weird because over in Finland it was everywhere. Like you saw the posters on every single bus stop and like trailers when you went to the subway and everything. Like it was everywhere.
there was nothing in the US for Encanto. No one knew about it when it released. I saw it in a nearly empty theater on Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, I saw it.
That's really
I saw
really
that
interesting
on a
to me.
re-release that they did around Christmas. Yeah, because we see a movie on Christmas Eve, and that was our Christmas Eve movie.
But then again, like a movie that did not get any promotion over here was Turning Red. Like that received nothing in terms of like marketing over here, but Encanto was everywhere.
I feel like I saw more Turning Red promotion than I did.
I see more promotion for like every single Pixar release than the recent Disney Animation Studios releases.
Yeah.
Am I imagining that?
No, and part of me is wondering if it's because those movies were, and this is me being conspiracy brained here, so I'm probably wrong, but they were potentially authorized under the previous head of Disney and not Bob Chapek, and maybe Bob Chapek is being a little bitch and not wanting to promote it.
All of the cats
I
have now made
saw
appearances.
another sort of theory about why they're not promoting Strange World is that it's possibly similar enough to Lightyear, which flopped.
Oh,
It's a sci-fi space adventure, and they are just predicting that it's going to flop because they think no one likes sci-fi space adventures that have advertised queerness before they're released or something. It looks like it's going. I mean, I didn't see Lightyear because I will watch it because I know it has a robot cat. But I'm not like invested in the Toy Story character because I never liked the Toy Story films. But like I'm way more excited.
I did not either.
I'm way more excited for Strange World than
I love Toy Story, but I haven't seen Toy Story 4 because Toy Story 3 was the perfect stopping point and we didn't need a 4. But also the premise just seemed very weird. Although I did see one person refer to it as like potentially it was the writer's angry Endgame AU where Lightyear is the the Steve Rogers character because they were mad about how Steve Rogers' plot point in Endgame turned out.
Okay, now I kind of want to see. I mean, speaking of things that excite me, the Disney Plus now has the Percy Jackson series trailers already up, and that's apparently coming out in like the next month or so.
That's not out for a while. They're still filming it.
Are they? Because they're like in the promotional material it said that it's coming soon.
It's coming. I would say late 2023 is the earliest. Like Rick Riordan's been posting updates on his blog, and they're still filming season 1.
Okay.
We are coming up on 2 hours here. Is there anything else that anyone wants to enthuse about before we start wrapping things up?
Void.
Void! Cat Void!
I don't dare actually go and touch Hermes because he is very shy. Mosfet and Tesla are more malleable. So.
We can look at him from a distance, though.
Yes. Oh God. Please don't damage my couch. I paid a big penny for this.
I think that probably is it
yes.
for this time.
So if we want to go around and say where everyone can find you next, and what you'll be doing, let's start with Rachel.
You can find me here on YouTube, my channel Colonati, and the next thing I should have out will probably be a dual review of Winter's Orbit and Ocean's Echo by Everina Maxwell. I have it filmed, I just need to edit it.
Ooh, did you like them?
I did. I like both of them quite a bit, but there are some things about Winter's Orbit that I didn't enjoy as much. So.
But what about the second book? Because I've not seen any reviews of that yet. And
I like that one a lot more. So quick version here. Winter's Orbit, I thought like the characters were really good, and I just enjoyed the personal tension, but it relies very heavily on miscommunication, which is my least favorite thing in something billed as a romance. I think the entire relationship development and the plot of the book were heavily drawn out based on miscommunication, and it irritates the hell out of me. So what I really wanted was for like, hey, queer space romance, but with better communication and people actually teaming up to get stuff done together, which is exactly what Ocean's Echo turned out to be. So I was extremely happy reading that.
You're the first person I've heard from who's read the second one, and I was waiting for reviews from trusted sources to decide whether I wanted to pick it up or not, because
Winter's Orbit is like really heavily a romance, like fan fiction style romance. And Ocean's Echo is much more like space adventure and political intrigue. There is a romantic element, but it's like very, very secondary. So I wouldn't even call it a romance.
I feel like I heard Winter's Orbit was originally on AO3 as original fiction.
It was.
Yes.
Yep. And if you read it, you can tell it is written in the style of fan fiction. It relies very heavily on fan fiction tropes. So
very exciting. So review on your channel. Rhea, what about you?
Yeah, so I will be continuing on with my 30 in 30 manga reading challenge. So hopefully either next Friday or next Saturday you should have the third vlog of my reading for that challenge. I was hoping to have other content as well, but I realized that vlogging is actually really time consuming and like involved, which I, for some reason, have forgotten about. So now it's basically like you will just get the vlogs until the vlogs are done, and then I will move on to other stuff. Early December, I should have a Shorts and Sorcery retrospective where I will basically tier rank all of the books and magazines that I chose for the first year of the book club, and then also goes over some announcements relating to it. So
December's pick is still Africa Risen, right?
Yes.
I've crossed fingers I'll be able to get a copy of that.
Yes, mine is in transit currently. The audiobook for that is available in Scribd currently.
Okay.
Just checked, and I think also the ebook version is available through Scribd as well. Actually the new Rebecca Roanhorse novella was also on Scribd, which was like interesting, and the new CL Polk. Like there's a lot of new releases there. I need to like brush up on my audios.
And Dai, what's up next for you?
You can find me on YouTube, Hive Social, and Twitter for as long as it lasts, at Bookish Dai. In terms of what's next, I have a couple of things recorded that I just have to sit down and edit. One is a joint review between two women's soccer player memoirs. Christine Sinclair is playing the long game, which I got to meet her yesterday, and I got a signed copy, and it was really great, even though it was super awkward. She's very nice. And then Megan Rapinoe's One Life. So I have that, and then I have a vlog, which I filmed, which I don't know if we'll actually see the light of day, but it was like my reading travel for work vlog when I was in St. Louis last week. or a couple weeks ago. I don't know. Time is a fluid concept. So I have things that I filmed that I just need to edit and post. So
I do not have anything filmed. I'm planning on sitting down and filming something tonight that I hope to be able to upload before I leave for Thanksgiving next week. It's either going to be a long overdue book haul that I haven't posted a book haul since spring, so like I have a whole summer fall. I might like leave off November because that might just be too much. I have a massive book haul I need to film. And I also have some like really old wrap-ups from the earlier months of the year that I need to film. And I might pick what I actually film first, based a little bit on what's easiest to just sit down and film, and a little bit based on like what isn't going to feature HarperCollins titles while they're on strike because they're asking for reviewers to
yes.
reviews. So I may like select a month to wrap up where like I know there's no HarperCollins titles. I don't know if I should extend that to the book haul, which is why I'm sort of sitting on this massive book haul. I'm like, should I do a book haul with HarperCollins titles in it?
You could always split it out and have like a part 2 that you pre-film, you know. For
Yeah,
later.
yeah. I would basically just play it safe and not include it.
Yeah. So I think I have like a 3 or 4 book wrap up for February that I can film that has all fine titles to talk about. That might be what I'm filming tonight. I'm also on TikTok at the Fancy Hat Lady Reads. I'm fairly sporadic on there, but I try to post something like once a week. And that's it for me. We've now gone a bit over time. Thank you all for joining us.
Next month we should be on Dice channel, I think.
Yes. Yep.
First time.
Yep.
Yay.
So you know what to do. Everyone subscribe to Dice channel so that you get the notifications for future lives.
We don't know if Twitter is going to be working or not.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh Lord.
Use those community posts on YouTube.
I'm gonna have to.
No one sees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried the community post today, okay? As of last I checked, it
did a
had 0
community post,
everything.
and I'm pretty sure no one saw it. Anyways, if that is all, shall we call it a day? Thank you so much for joining, everyone.
Yep. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.